And we got Dr. Forbes Riley representing here. Hello. So this is our last but not least amazing speaker. So let's keep that energy high. Say hype in the chat because we're still hype, y'all. Yeah, I don't care. We're hype. We hype. Say hype in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We got some goods here for you. Awesome. Awesome. So Dr. Forbes, let me share a little bit about her. She's amazing. She's such a beautiful. I was actually on a podcast earlier with Dr. Forbes Riley. And speaking of entertainment, she has a movie coming up, which I'm going to ask you about that. You have a movie coming up in October. Would love for you to share with everyone what that movie's about. But let me share a little bit about Dr. Forbes Riley. She, as a keynote motivational speaker, Dr. Forbes Riley has been compared to Tony Robbins for her bold, dynamic style that instantly transforms audiences. She has shared stages with Les Brown's, Deepak Chopra, Mel Robbins, Jack Canfield, and the Shark Tanks, Kevin Harrington and Damon John. And Forbes is a true global thought leader and a brand on a mission to ignite hope and prosperity. So y'all say hello to Dr. Forbes Riley in here. Say hi, hi, hi. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. So I'm a little curious why everyone's got these cute little pictures. Turn those cameras on if you want to get some. I don't like talking to just kind of nothingness, guys. Hello, Mazina. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm on a freaking amazing journey. I just had a couple hundred people on my mastermind. We just finished a speaker training, and people who scored a 10 in the training out of the hundreds that we had got a chance to speak tonight. I'm still crying. I watch transformations that I don't think that people realize are possible. I have been so blessed now. Hello, Bill and Suzanne. Thank you for turning your cameras on. For those of you who ever watched late night infomercials, that was my jam. I was the queen of infomercials. In my career, I've grossed $2.5 billion. I did this in a time before internet. Nobody knew who I was. I just put my head down and did the work. And I have a very unique, like we all do, story of overcoming adversity to get here. I'm very emotional at the moment because you can go on Google and go ForbesRiley.com and find out all the facts about me. But to get to experience another human being, I think is what Zoom is greatest for. And I credit COVID with taking one of my best friend's life. He was my publisher and he was gone in the blink of an eye. But during that same lockdown period, my twins who were forced to do high school in my house became my business partners. And we launched a company that's now has over 29,000 active students in it because my 17-year-old turned to me and said, "Mom, I've watched you suffer on the internet long enough. You've been taken, you've been screwed over, you don't do it very well, but what you teach is so very important. I think this is going to be the wave of the future." She was 17. And we sat down and we said, well, what is it that I do? I teach people to pitch. I have this whole concept of how I could go on infomercials or live home shopping. I've been on live home shopping for 30 years. I moved to Tampa, Florida, because right down the street is this mythical sci-fi thing, is this portal to 85 million homes. It's called HSN. I was on QVC. You literally go on there just like a TV camera here, only the access was massive. I would pitch all kind of different products and get paid insane amounts of money to do that. I now take those skills that I took for granted. My daughter helped me systematize it and said, you know what, Forbes, you're good and all, but there's a system to what you do. You can teach it. And as she said to me, Mom, if you teach other people how to do this, you'll have a legacy. And I got to tell you, it's been 4 years and my life is completely different. And it's fascinating. And one of the girls who spoke tonight was a witness to the Columbine school shooting. She's a school counselor and she's endured a lot of suicides in her school from kids and now just a teacher the other week. And I realized that so many of us are lonely, are frightened, are confused, bought into the bullshit of media that wants us to be scared, because when you're scared, you do crazy things. You're willing to give up your rights when you're scared. You can walk through an airplane right now and all of a sudden they can pat you down in places that nobody's allowed to touch in public, but it's for the public good. We're doing it for your safety. Nah, okay, maybe. You just threw out my water and my $5 yogurt too, but whatever. And so if you're scared, and they want you to be scared, and I want the exact opposite. I want you to take flight and be bold in the face of being scared. I value you, Ms. Zena, for being bold, for being beautiful, for all the things that you're doing. And I'll tell you a quick little story because I don't want to take too much time. It's very late tonight, but you guys stick around and I appreciate that. Can you guys, no, you can't see my screen. That is the wrong button. Let me do that again. I'll show this screen. And this, I credit a lot of what I do to this crazy man who's not on the planet anymore. And it's my dad. We all had one, whether we know him or not. Somebody met somebody somewhere, and you were one of 40 million sperm that met an egg and became a person. Congratulations. That's the first big win in life. You're here. And I get so sad when people are willing to take their life and end it because it's such a gift. But it wasn't always that way. I lived in a very, very small house. He was a crazy dreamer. And I personally didn't know that I didn't have to prove how worthy I was to that man most of my life. And it wasn't until he almost passed away that I found out that he loved me just because I showed up. When I had kids, I realized they didn't have to do anything to get loved. They just had to be there. Now, that's not true for everyone. I know that. When I was little, I had something wrong with my mouth. And as you can see by that arrow, my teeth are very, very wide apart. I had a very strange jaw. My mother was the daughter of 2 Ukrainian immigrants, a butcher, and she used to raise dogs. And my mom was an only child who had to sleep on the couch of their little tiny Brooklyn apartment. She was a hoarder. Her parents were alive during the Great Depression. She held on to things very tightly because she didn't want to lose them. They took an impression of my mouth and she freaking saved it for all of those years from 1968. If you look at my poor jaw, I mean, we take this out every Halloween and we just scare our kids with it because that's my mouth. Well, so they then put me in braces. Now, here's the thing. If you're a girl when you're little, and I can pretty much speak universally, you want one of a couple of things. One of them is to be pretty. Well, when you've got a mouth like that, they put me in braces at 8 years old. For 8 years of my life, I had a full set of braces. And then for 2 years, they stuck this thing in my mouth. And I couldn't talk. And so I'm 9 years old and I can't be understood by anybody and nobody wants to be my friend. Not only am I ugly, but I'm freaking lonely as you could possibly get. And not only that, I walked into a baseball bat at some point. I broke my nose. It was horrible. I would go to sleep every night trying to push it in. I had big, fat, frizzy hair. I was overweight. And I led a very isolated childhood. Now, don't feel sorry for me and don't feel sorry for yourself because all the pain that you went through is what allows you to be who you are today. And if you don't like who you are, maybe you need to release some of that and orchestrate it differently. I firmly believe that you're the sum of the obstacles you overcome. In that case, I'm doing really well because I've got some major horror stories. I don't live with them, but I share them to impress upon you that I'm living an amazing life because I appreciate all that, but I don't dwell on it. And I'm going to advise you and ask you to look at the timeline of your life and be grateful for the people who hurt you. Be grateful for the person who touched you or made you whatever. They don't exist anymore, but what you took, being a survivor from that, gives you strength to move forward and help other people who are not as strong as you are. So there I am at 15 and a half years old, and my mother turns to me and she says, "Kiddo, we have no money for college." My dad at that moment had slipped on a printing press that he built. He built these things, and somehow one day he leaned on it and he cut the whole front of his hand off. It got stuck inside a roller. He spent 3 years in the hospital, my entire high school. So not only am I a lonely, awkward kid, but now every night when kids are going to baseball and football games, I'm going to see my dad in the hospital. Had a lot of time to think and dream. And I will tell you what's ironic about this is he had a corner room and it overlooked the only mansion in my little hometown. And I can remember standing there very often thinking, what's dinner like tonight in their house? They get to eat steak. What is Halloween like and Christmas? Because we didn't have those things, not like they did. And I wanted it. I just wanted it. I don't know why. I saw it in the movies. Other people had it. And when my mother told me you had no money for college, it was like, really? But here's where all the dreaming began. And it's kind of a funny story that at that moment, she said, well, there's a Miss Teenage America pageant and they're giving a scholarship to college. She looked at my face and said, yeah, that's not going to work. I will never forget that moment. It's almost 50 years now, where this woman that I love very much pretty much said, yeah, you're not very pretty. She said it in front of my dad's doctor. And here's the crazy thing. If you have a dream, speak it out loud. Don't be afraid because people will tell you you're idiots. You're wrong. It's not going to happen. Who do you think you are? And when you hear that, know that you're on the right path. See, because when God whispers a dream into your ear, he doesn't ask for permission from other people. He asks you, do you have the courage to pursue this? You do or you don't? Well, my dad's doctor turned to my family and said, you know what, I'm going to fix your daughter's nose. Now, I got to tell you, between you and me in 1975, I never heard of anyone having a nose job, a rhinoplasty. Why would it even matter? Well, he noticed I couldn't breathe very well. And here's the funny thing that happened. It's nothing short of a miracle as I look at the story now. That ugly little girl who hated life and didn't have any friends woke up a couple of days later, and this little girl looked back in the mirror. And this little girl turned to her and said, you know what? You're just cute enough to save your family. I got a hand-me-down bridesmaid's dress. I entered this competition. There were 500 girls. And I remember saying to my dad as he walked me into that first audition meeting, and I said, one of these little girls is going to be on TV with Bob Hope on NBC. That's going to be me. Now, it's only a good story because I won. I don't know how I did it, except that I wanted it. There are girls in the background. There are girls that are cuter, probably even more talented. But I will tell you what, nobody wanted to win as badly as I did. And when I looked down at the judges from that stage and they asked that question, I remember that moment, that I was doing this for the guy standing over there with the big bandage on his hand to save my family. And this was not a joke for me. I didn't want to be a pageant girl. I wanted to be a lawyer. And I got all the way to the nationals in that same hand-me-down bridesmaid's dress. And it was the beginning of a journey that was really freaking hard. That was the worst week of my life. Wait, what? But you won. Yeah, you know what happened? I ended up in Tulsa, Oklahoma as a kid from New York who was Jewish. There were 2 Jews in that competition. I've come to understand, I didn't know people didn't like Jews. I grew up in a community that was all Jewish and Italian. It was pizza, pasta, and matzah. Well, ironically, I can't believe we're dealing with these same situations. I was asked silly questions like, oh, you're not even for a Jew. Where are your horns? I was stunned. I'd never experienced this. And then they were like, y'all have the funniest accent I ever heard. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? I'm from New York. What's wrong with everybody here? I not only didn't win Miss Congeniality, but I left there hurting that I was being made fun of for something I had no control over. And you know what it taught me? We talk about diversity. I am the queen of that. I raised a little black kid from South Central who I loved very much, who I taught the idea that I don't know what the color of your skin is as much as you seem to be caring about it. I taught him a lot of lessons. God gave me him, Dexter, because when I brought him the first time up to see my father-in-law's house in Pasadena, my father-in-law was a very prominent business guy, lived on the top of a mountain. Dexter walked, he's like 8 years old. He's like, this is where rich people live. Oh no, he said, this is where white people live. I said, no, honey, this is where green people live. See that black person, that Asian, the only thing they have in common, they all look completely different. They're all got money. It doesn't matter. And money doesn't care what color your skin is or how old you are. It doesn't care about anything. It's a strategy. It's a game. If you know how to make it, you get to live up here. You have as much of a shot as anybody else. Until one day Dexter was walking at 19 from a haircut to church in his neighborhood in South Central. And a kid who didn't get my kind of tutoring and my mentoring, but wanted to get into a gang, walked up behind my boy with a gun, shot him 10 times and left him for dead on the sidewalk all alone on a Sunday morning. I'm a bit on a mission here to have people hear my voice and hear these stories because I'm still here. And I will be for a very long time because I've got a passion and a purpose to help you unlock whatever's inside of you, to be able to get on stage and speak about it, to brand it well enough so somebody has an idea what you're up to, and then to be able to pitch what you do to other people. And I will tell you, you have a responsibility. If there's a thought in your head to do something and you don't do it, I want you to think of all the people that you're denying of the book that you haven't written, of the course that you're not teaching. They're out there and they're waiting for you. The universe told you to go do something and you're spending time going, but I've got a fear of success. I've got a fear of failure. My advice to you is to get out of your own way, and it's not about you. Your gift is meant to be shared. And tonight, I want to thank Zena for letting me have this platform to just get up here. I'm happy to answer some questions, and I hope I ignited your heart. And Bill, thank you for that very much.
My goodness. Thank you so much, Dr. Forbes, for sharing your hearts with us. And I didn't know that's backstory of yours by any means. I'm so inspired. Who feels ignited? Say ignite in the chat. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So powerful. So powerful. And one of the things that you and I talked about, Dr. Forbes, was the permission to succeed, right? And what it takes to succeed, and what, like, you know what I mean, and also being bold. What would you say to someone, and then we'll open it for Q&A, someone who's afraid to be bold? What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I don't understand what that means. What are you afraid of? Nobody ever died from being bold. Odds are you might have been embarrassed when you were a kid somewhere. Somebody told you that you weren't enough and you listened to it and believed it. When we talk about permission to succeed, it starts with you giving yourself permission. Literally looking in the mirror and saying this exact sentence. Get out a pen, write this down. I hereby grant you, the you in the mirror, permission to, and then fill in the blank. And I love that Steve is writing that down. And Jacqueline, by the way, that is my mother's name, exactly how she spelt it. I have a huge place in my heart for you. I just love the word, I miss my mom. And so here's the thing. What do you grant yourself permission to do? I'm going to give you one more story. 7 weeks ago, I'm with my beautiful 21-year-old twins and my husband, and we're in Iceland on a vacation, school break from my son from college. And wow, Iceland's fantastic. It's only 4.5 hours from Boston. It's like it's like a Disneyland for adults. It's got beautiful lagoons that you get to hot tub in, and it's got waterfalls and geysers, and we went snowmobiling on a glacier. I mean, it was like fantastic. I'm having the time of my life. I haven't spent time with my kids in a while. We're coming back on a 16-person bus. It's got big old tires because it just left this glacier. We get on the road, sunny day, beautiful. Life is great until something fell out of the visor. The driver loses control. The bus skids sideways, goes airborne, and crashes down on my side of the bus. This is 7 weeks ago. I opened my eyes, and my face has gone through the glass window. There's glass everywhere. And this cheek is on the asphalt, on the black asphalt with the yellow lines on it. My daughter's right behind me. She experienced the exact same thing. My husband and son, who were all strapped in, but he fell on me, all 200 pounds of him. People are dangling from above because they're stuck in their seatbelts. We're in trouble. But here's what didn't happen. I didn't lose an eye. I didn't lose my face, my brain injury, none of this. I don't quite understand, and I understand it. I can't explain in earthly terms how I'm okay. And we're also an hour and a half from a hospital. If you'd gotten seriously hurt, you would have died right there. This is not lost on me. When my daughter is screaming, Mom, are you still there? And got the little cutter and is cutting us out and literally crawling out the little air vent at the top of this. I will tell you, let's not have a bus fall on you for you to wake up. I'm no longer interested, Zena, in what you're afraid of. I'm just afraid of success. You know what? That's good for you. Then move on. I'm sorry. It's not worth being afraid of. That's not where your focus needs to be. And if you're not in alignment with that, coming to trainings like this, I put a little free gift link. I have a very cool community of very supportive people. And you're welcome to, on Facebook, find us. It's called EEC, the Entrepreneur Empowerment Circle, where we just love on each other. I mean, I teach classes and we do all these wonderful things, but I've just got a free group where there's a lot of people in there who hear my voice. And then I did something crazy. How many of you right now, if I asked you to stand up and take your clothes off and stand there in your bra and panties or your little jockey shorts, would do it? Not one of you. That's terrifying, right? That's like what you should be afraid of. Oh, I don't want to get naked. Well, guess what? My husband's a professional bodybuilder. And 47 days ago after this accident, he said, there's a bodybuilding competition in our hometown. I'm like, no, I'm good. I pushed out twins, guys. And I was kind of pushing it. I did my body weight and my fat percentage in January, and I'm pushing the scale at a bigger number than I'd ever been doing before. And my fat was like 33%. He's at 9%. During COVID, I don't think I really focused on anything below my neck. And I said to him, I just turned 64, by the way. 64 years old is not the age that you want to start doing a bodybuilding competition when you've never really worked out that hard. And I said, you know what? June 29th, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put on a bikini and high heels, and I'm going to compete. That's the stupidest thing anyone could ever say. And you know what it's made me do? For 47 days, I just got a scan yesterday. I've lost 14 pounds. My body fat is now 24%. Holy shit.
Oh, good.
No matter what, yesterday when I saw that, I win. I still have another 8 weeks to go. It's not enough time to really, who knows what I'm going to look like then. But you know what? I look so much better than I did. I'm so committed to the food, to the fitness, to all. Guys, I just want you to appreciate that. I think if you tell me on one side that you want to be successful, and on the other hand, you said you're afraid of failure, you're lying to yourself, and you need to stop it. Because it's not worth it. At some point, it doesn't freaking matter. When my dad died, when he was younger, he had this garage full of all of these inventions. He turned to me one day and he said, kiddo, how do I get my ideas out to the world? I said, Dad, I've got no idea. I'm 8. When he passed away, the garbage collectors came by. They had a giant, one of those big green tin bins. And they scooped up all of his dreams and his hopes and my toys and all the things he made for us and they threw them away. They were gone. They were trash. So the world doesn't really care if you write your book or you go on that vacation or you finish the things on your bucket list. Nobody cares. You have to. And so the permission to succeed doesn't come from me. It comes from you. And when you look in that mirror, you say, I hereby grant you permission. How about just to be wonderful, to believe in yourself, to fulfill your dreams, to write the book, to kiss the boy, whatever it happens to be, to say to the world that you're finally great and somebody needs to notice you. I'm going to say, if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you.
So good. So good. If you're inspired, say inspired in the chat, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. And if you have questions, please ask your questions in the chat. And then one quick question for you, Forbes, and then we'll wrap up. And thank you for hopping on. Yeah, either way. So good. So good. So what would you say to someone who, first of all, you're the pitch queen. You are the queen of pitching. Like you pitch, you're amazing at it. What would you say to someone who is resistant to pitching?
At this moment, I'm going to say I no longer have time for you. Stop being resistant. Let me share something. I just don't. Let me share something. No, let me show you something. Here's the thing. Number one, it's a lot easier than you ever imagined. Jacqueline, unmute your microphone for a sec. Let me show you guys something. Pitching is a skill. If you want to learn to pitch, that free gift that I gave you is actually a template. And tomorrow, by the way, I'm on Friday. I have a free summit. I don't normally do this. If you don't mind, I would love to invite you guys. If you want to see something and you want to see people learn how to pitch in 60 seconds. And by the way, I don't teach a whole lot anymore. I'll tell you why. I am doing movies. That was big. That's been my dream. I've been an actress. I've been on Broadway. I've done commercials. I stopped for 20 years to raise my family. About 9 months ago, I got given an action-packed Western playing the bad girl. I filmed that. I've got a lead in a new movie that I'm going to start shooting in July. So to teach live is something I don't do a whole lot. On Friday, Zena, and I'd love you to be there, is a free summit of this training that I'm giving you the free template for. So Jacqueline, here's how it goes. You're going to be my I can't say guinea pig because that's disgusting. You're going to be my puppy. I don't know what. So Jacqueline, the first question people ask at a networking event is, what do you do, right? So Jacqueline, if I asked you, what do you say?
I would say that I'm a voice actor and I voice audiobooks, narration, and I give you soothing voice.
Jacqueline, so now I got to, okay. So now everybody needs to listen to this. Why are you telling me this?
Because maybe because you might need that service, maybe because you may know of someone who needs it.
Odds are I don't. And I'm going to tell you, and that's really important to know.
Okay.
And this is what you all do. You were taught in elementary school to answer questions. I don't do that. I have a big philosophy. I have a little bracelet here called What Would Forbes Do? Whenever you get asked the question, the first thing you want to think about is, what is it that the question I really want you to hear is, what can you do for me? So unless I am hiring voice actors, that kind of went over, it was like, well, that's nice for you. So now I would say, Jacqueline, what can you do for me? What would you say?
I would say, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
No, 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 no. And then I would say, see you later. Guys, that's the worst question you can ask ever in the world, because the truth is you don't care. No, I'm going to tell you how to get around this. You want to make money literally in 60 seconds. So the first thing you want to do, if you're a voice actor, you know, of all the things that you could do in today's day and age, that's one of the scary ones. And you know why? Because for very little money, I can go on AI right now and hire someone to read. It's weird. I believe me, I know about voice actors. I love it. It's a craft. It's brilliant. But I would make sure that you've got another way to also make money. And here's what I would do. The number one, make an assumption about who you're talking to. I don't need to ask you. I know you're an entrepreneur. I know that at 4 o'clock you'd love an energy drink or something that doesn't give you jitters, because our energy, you know, all kinds of things about people. Right. So it might be, hey, you know what, Forbes, as someone, do you make a living as a voice actor?
Yes, I make a living. Well, no, I'm retired, so I have a pension. Let's start with that. Let's be honest.
Well, no, but here's the thing. But you love doing this. And so here's the thing. Hey, Forbes, what are you retired from, by the way? Voice acting?
Nope. Elementary school librarian.
Okay. So what do you do? Hey, Forbes, you know, as someone who's retired from being a librarian in school, my passion has always been voiceovers. And what I can do for any entrepreneur right now is I can give your videotape a deep sense of warmth and engagement. If you are somebody that you know ever needs a real voice actor, forget that AI stuff, you want to reach out and call me.
That does sound much better. Yes.
See, yes. Now, right. Yeah. I love it. And I wish you all the best. I want you to, you know, here's what you probably should do. You should check out my girlfriend, Rolanda Watts. Rolanda had a talk show years ago. Rolanda is the voice of the Sherry Shepherd show. And she's one of the few people I've ever met who has a career, and she does cartoons and all of these great things. You just might want to just look at her career. I always like to model after somebody who's doing what I want to be doing.
Yes. Yes. Good idea.
Good. I love that. Nice to meet you. Mr. Steve.
Nice to meet you as well.
You're so welcome. Hey, Steve Grumbach. Steve, unmute for a second. Let me just do another one of these. I love this. Is what I've been doing all week.
So good. I love it.
Getting people to understand how to pitch themselves without, I don't need to ask you at all. Guys, here's the thing. Somebody says to me, hey, Forbes, what do you know, nice to meet you. Hey, I'm known as the queen of pitch because I've sold $2.5 billion. I've got 25,000 active students. And if you want to get your message out, call me.
Yeah, so good.
Oh, that's what you do. Now, here's the irony of this. I don't always say that because I also have a fitness product that I created. So Steve, hang on one quick second. I created a handheld fitness product, right? If I'm in a fitness environment, and Jacqueline, this is what you need to know. If I'm in a fitness environment, I'm not going to tell you that I'm the queen of pitch. If I'm on a business platform where I'm speaking about my businesses, I might not mention I'm also in the Fitness Hall of Fame and I've got a product to sell you. Write this down. A confused mind doesn't buy. Don't tell them more than they need to know, but know why you're talking to somebody. And when you know that, you get what you want. Otherwise, you just chit chat. And so when I came on the stage tonight, Zena has been, she's just got a wonderful spirit and a great energy about her. She did show up on my podcast today. If you want to hear that episode, by the way, go to ForbesRileyPodcast.com. It was, in fact, live today. I'm on a beautiful platform. You can just listen to her piece of it. It's great. I have wonderful guests. And so when I said, yes, I want to do this, when I start speaking, I have my first intention. And you know what that is? It's to be loved. It's very selfish. I just want you guys to like me. I want you to unmute, say hi, and just feel that energy. The second thing is I'd like to ignite your head and your heart to maybe things that you hadn't thought of before. And that was my entire intention. I'm not here to sell you anything. If you guys go, wow, I'd love to know more, come know more. That's great. So that's just an important thing to know. So Steve, you're sharing your picture. Come back here for a second. I want to ask you what you do if you're willing to play with me.
Great to see you, Steve. Let's go.
Both Steve and Bill turned off their cameras. They're like,
back. There it goes.
There we go.
So Steve, can I ask?
Very similar to Jacqueline, actually, but so maybe the very similar situation. Retired from corporate America. So my normal elevator pitch is at a networking event, for example. I've had a lot of experience in all different phases of corporate America, and AI voice will just talk to you. I will connect with you. So if you have any way that you need to connect to your employees or to your customers, I'm here for you.
What an interesting choice of a career in today's environment. Why do you do that?
I've always loved voiceover. I was in college radio. My last few years in corporate America, they asked me to narrate some in-house training. And I wanted something to do in retirement to keep me going. And I love it. And I may or may not be as successful as I want to be in it, but I love doing it. I have a passion for it. I've known Zena for quite a while through this. And it's just something I enjoy.
And you should be doing what you love. And I love your pitch. I think it's great. I think what you need to do, though, and this is an important sentence that I teach in pitching, and I would take this as a note. Stop telling people what they need and get them to want what you have. That's
Okay.
my big secret. And so if I have a bottle of water here, the way most people pitch it is by saying, hey guys, you know what? I've got great water here. It's, if you're, it's thirsty or it's hydrating, it's got vitamin, and they start talking about this. That's the exact wrong way to do it. So the opposite of that is don't show the product. The opposite of that is to first imagine what is the biggest problem my listener, my customer, my prospect is suffering from. And I use that word very important. So if I've got this, and I know I've got this, if I'm a voiceover actor, I know I've got this skill, but I'm not going to say it just yet. I'm going to say to you, hey guys, do you ever get a little parched? And you're like, you drank water, but it didn't do enough. Odds are your water doesn't have a hydration property to it. They've invented a new thing where it's not just H2O, it's like HH2O. I'll tell you what, you take a sip of this, it's delicious, quenches your thirst, and you don't need to drink a gallon of it. Anybody want to know more? Raise your hand. Right, so now you're like, actually I got Suzanne to raise her hand. That's how cool the pitch that is. And then I'm gonna go, okay, I got it right here, and now you want to buy it. So for you, my question is, when you meet people, I would assume that most people, as I'm in business, haven't hired a voiceover actor. Is that a fair assumption? So I don't know why I would. So you need to remind me I have a problem. Hey, Forbes, you know what? One of the things that I've discovered as someone who's been in the corporate world forever is that branding is very, very important. That your company would be better if it had an energy to it, like a voice to it. Remember how James Earl Jones would make you sound? And most people don't put a voiceover on their website or a certain kind of voice to their trainings. Whenever you need that, you want to elevate your business, come talk to me. Now they will talk to you because they know why they want you. Does that resonate?
It absolutely does. And that's really good.
Good. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hey, Bill, nice to see you as well.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so very welcome. It's my absolute honor, except that it's about a 10:18 and I may have to go to bed at some point.
I love it. We're going to be wrapping up shortly and after Bill, actually. So thank you, Dr. Forbes, for pouring into everyone here. So good. Yeah, Bill, come on stage. Let's go. Hi, Bill. Great to see you.
Good evening, Zena, and nice to meet you, Dr. Forbes.
Hello, Bill. What do you do?
I'm a career development coach. I help my clients define and manifest their highest career goals in line with their faith.
Now, why did you talk about them to me? Why didn't you talk about what you can offer us?
Good point. I use the third person, not the second person.
Well, it's just an interesting observation, and I'll tell you why. And this is, again, the reason I told you guys the story of being an awkward, lonely kid who couldn't speak very well is that for 2 years, I finally put this together, by the way, that I observed people talking a lot and not saying much of anything. And I couldn't talk. And what that created in my brain was a sense that people waste words. They don't say what they mean, and they certainly don't help me understand what they're saying. Most people talk just to talk. I talk, and this made me a lot of money. I talk to influence others. So when you say that, as a career coach, maybe, what did you do before you did this?
Corporate marketing, advertising, product development, brand management.
How successful were you?
Moderately.
Okay, that's interesting. What company did you work for?
Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson.
Okay, so stop right there.
Yeah.
Here's how you want to phrase that. Hey, Forbes, as somebody who worked for Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, yes?
Right.
As a guy who worked in sales and marketing for a Fortune 500 company, maybe you've heard of Procter & Gamble. I've now decided, and no, seriously, you do that, I'm like, dude, okay. I now take those skills and offer to entrepreneurs to give them a leg up.
Okay.
Or I would say entrepreneurs with like people like you. I give insight to entrepreneurs that only corporate America has had access to. Those are billion-dollar corporations. Imagine what I can do for you.
Okay.
Good?
Landed.
Kind of cool, right? See, I could do this all night, except that, yeah.
Oh, good. So good. Do you want to take one more, Dr. Forbes?
Oh, wait, did I give you the wrong link? 1 minute to million secret invite should not say $100. I'm happy to do one more. Let me make sure I got you the right link. I grabbed that link from while I was in the middle. Yes. Turn me on to somebody else and I'll see what I can do about that link.
All right, Geraldine, I see you. Let's go, Geraldine. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, that's not the summit. And that's unfortunately, I'd asked my team to get me the summit. Hang on one quick second.
Got you.
Okay. Please share the summit link with me. Okay. All right, so here we go. Who did you just bring up? Geraldine. Hello, Miss Geraldine.
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Geraldine, where are you calling in from tonight?
Inner East, South Carolina.
Nice. I'm down here in Tampa, Florida. So what do you do?
I'm a voice actor. I'm sorry.
Did you not learn anything from what I... Again, the reason I say that is here's my response to I am a voice actor. My response is to you, good for you.
Right. Okay. I provide voice. No. I provide voiceover services to companies, and I help companies. Wait, I'm struggling.
Well, let me ask you a question, Geraldine. How's it going?
It's pretty rough right now.
Well, I'm going to tell you that it's going to be pretty rough. I don't see that career choice is ever going to be easy, especially when AI hit. So what else are you going to be doing? Now, by the way, guys, I've had a couple of businesses that have not worked. I had a skincare and a fashion business that both crashed and burned. This raging success, coaching raging success, other ones failures. Okay. My question is, what else do you do? Because and by the way, as an actor, I have never made that my only career choice. And I've done TV series like 24. I've starred in feature films and television. I do not, at some point it became very apparent to me that unless you're Julia Roberts, you better have something else that you do. Yeah. Because I like money. I like the freedom that money provides. I like the fact that I've taken my kids on trips around the world and we could afford to go skiing, none of which I could do when I was growing up. I'm going to tell you, there is less than 0.1% of actors who live this kind of life. That's my team saying, where are you? They're so funny. They're just like, we want you. So my question to you is, what else do you do? What else is your skill set? What do you love doing besides that?
I play music. I write, like copywriting.
Well, that's a pretty valid skill.
Audio editing.
What's the dream for you? What do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, I see myself as a producer, in addition to being a voice actor, getting into music production, film production. Why
don't you start that now? Because that's what we don't have a lot of. Product, content. All the energy that you're going to spend being a voice actor and having that, almost feel sad for people who are that talented. And I wish I could sing, because you can sing anywhere. You can literally go to the street corner and sing. As an actor of any kind, you got to wait for someone to hire you. That's a problem. but not necessarily today. See, today, if I were doing this all over again, I wouldn't wait for anyone to hire me. I'd be producing my own project. I own a television studio, by the way. I would, if I had the energy to be doing this, would set out to write the scripts that I want, create roles that I want to be in with my friends. Cameras are not that expensive. People are studying film and videos everywhere. You can make a freaking movie on your phone. Why are you choosing to let your career path and your destiny be in the hands of somebody who has to hire you? Somebody that you have to impress, who, by the way, make no mistake, as a business owner, as beautiful as you are, if you're $1,000 a day for a voiceover artist and I can get it for $5 as a AI, I don't really know the difference. I'm going to do that. Because at the end of the day, right now, businesses are hurting for money. They're not hurting for voice talent. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So you're a bit of a luxury, which is great. Now, don't get me wrong. And I'm just going to give you the reality of what I think. There are people who sell $100,000 watches. Blows my mind. I'm not interested in those. I don't get it at all. I can buy a Swatch for $14 or an Apple for $1,000. Why am I spending that much money? But people do. My thought to you, though, as somebody who's lived 64 years on this planet, I don't want to fish in a pond where there's 2 fish. I'd rather go fish where there's a whole bunch of them and I don't have to work so hard. And that word struggling actor is not a joke. You're struggling because you're waiting to impress somebody else. It's been an interesting career path, and don't kid yourself. I love acting. I freaking love it. It's all I would prefer to do, but there's no way I could afford my lifestyle. So you don't give it up. You just get more creative and you go, wait a second, how old are you?
44.
Oh my God, you look like you're 22.
Thank you.
Which is a good thing. I would have a very clear picture of how you have a control on your destiny. I didn't like the people who had control over my destiny. I didn't like the infomercial producers I had to work with. I was a girl in a man's industry. I was told to look pretty and shut up a lot. And I didn't enjoy any of that. So now it doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, how old you are, what sex, none of it matters. You can be whatever you choose to do. I'm going to tell you that. And the market is willing. I mean, get real. Tyler Perry dresses up as a woman I'm sorry, what? He's one of the most successful producers of all time. He didn't wait for someone. No one's hiring Tyler Perry to dress up as a woman except Tyler Perry. And it's genius how he did it. I mean, I've not met that man. I would really like to meet him because he's one of the most innovative. And then people still hire him as an actor, right? He does acting roles, but he fucking owns a studio. So I would just, for all of you, don't leave your destiny in someone else's hands. That's all I'm going to say. Zena, what do you say to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the challenges I see, especially in the entertainment business, being voice acting, being one of them, right? Is it's very inconsistent. If you're relying on that for income, it's up and down. It's like you said, you got to impress someone to get the job, and auditioning doesn't mean you're going to get the job, right? You know this as being an actress, Dr. Forbes, right? When you go on sets, etc. So I encourage people to create consistent income by creating something that is authentic to them. So they can build a coaching business or leverage their gift or something else, but not rely 100% on voice acting, because unfortunately it may not pay the bills until you create some momentum. And that could take time, because there's the skill set piece of it. There's the marketing, there's the sales, there's networking, there's so many pieces involved. You know what I mean? So I encourage everyone to build something outside of it, like build a coaching business or something similar to that. So
yeah, but aside from that, enjoy the work. You know, if you can do it, great. It's like being modeling. My husband was a former fashion model. He's one of the most beautiful men I've ever seen, especially when he was young. He was 17 when he went to LA, and he just couldn't handle the pressure of all the people that hit on him. He was completely blown away by that and turned away by that and didn't end up pursuing that as a career. And he would have been great at it. He was absolutely beautiful when you look at him at that age, but he just didn't enjoy the environment. So it's not always just entertainment industry is a funny place. That's all.
I love how bold you are, Dr. Forbes. So good. Thank you, Geraldine, for hopping on and being vulnerable and being with us here. So good. Guys, if this was gold, say gold in the chat. We're going to be wrapping up because I know we're way over time, but Dr. Forbes has been super generous with her time. Say gold in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. Gold, gold, gold. Awesome.
Awesome.
And
I love this.
Yeah, I love you so much, Dr. Forbes. And Dr. Forbes shared her gift, free gift. So make sure you jump in, access her free gift. If you can hop onto the summit that you're hosting. Is it next week, Dr. Forbes, the summit you're hosting?
No, it's Friday. It's literally Friday.
Oh, shoot, this Friday. I missed the memo.
Yeah. And I'm looking for the link. Can't seem to figure out where the link is right now. Here's what I would do. If you guys are interested, private message me on Facebook. Just go, hey, can you share the link for the summit? Perfect. Happy to do that. It's completely free. There'll be about 300 people there. You'll learn, you know what? One, great to meet people who are out there doing things. You'll hear pitches of every different kind of shape, but they're all only 60 seconds long. Yeah. It's called 1 minute to millions for a reason. And there's a lot of learning just by listening to all that. So, Ms. Zena, I love you. It's 10:30 at night. I'm going to bed.
Thank you so much. Everyone say bye, Dr. Forbes, and then I'll let you all go in a minute or two. Bye, Dr. Forbes.
Vanessa, thank you for holding down the fort. Susanna, nice to meet you. Bye. Good night, everybody.
Bye, beautiful. Thank you so much.